Hi and welcome to this session. Today I'm going to talk about a topic which has been asked about most frequently by women doctors, and what they want to know is how can they manage their relationships at work and have a healthier work environment. Now, in order to understand the solution, as you know, first we have to make a diagnosis. The unfortunate situation is that each one of us thinks that it's all about us, as a person. You're like, why is there so much gender bias? Why am I not getting the promotions I deserve? Why is it that, there's so much harassment and power dynamics? Why is it that my voice doesn't seem to matter? Why do I need to overperform in order to be given the same kind of appreciation, that a male colleague does? Now, the important thing to recognize is it's not just about you. You are an individual who is living in a structure which is many hundreds of years old, and it's called the patriarchy. And one of the unfortunate side effects of the patriarchy is what we call misogyny. Now, if you've never heard these terms before, let me explain them to you, because then a lot of your experience will start to make sense. So what is patriarchy? Patriarchy is a social structure in which men are given primary importance. It is basically the explanation of the word patriarchy is rule of the fathers. So that doesn't mean your father, my father. It means all the men in society are seen as the ones who are primary, the ones who are the priority, and the ones for whose benefit all the systems have been created. Now, this is in some ways an invisible structure unless you become aware of it. So modern medicine, since it emerged within the patriarchy, has always had a very, very patriarchal kind of an approach. In fact, you would know that till a few hundred years ago, women were not even allowed to enter medical colleges. It was believed that women's brains were very small and that women's primary role was reproduction. And if they studied too much, they would not be able to have children. And that was seen as, not really important enough then to allow women to study. So given that that has been the foundation and the basis of modern medicine, it's not surprising to understand that those kind of power dynamics and those kind of power structures still continue. The other word I spoke about was misogyny. What misogyny means is a kind of a hatred or a dislike of women. And in fact, if you think about it a little, you would have probably seen that emerging in your textbooks as well. The way women are spoken about more in a very utilitarian way, which means only in their usefulness, either for sexual functions or for reproduction. In most other cases, it is believed that women are more prone to hysteria. There is a whole field of work called medical gaslighting, but that's a topic for a whole other conversation. Today, I just want you to understand that it's not just about you. It's about you experiencing the side effects of being part of a systemic structure, which is called the patriarchy, in which women doctors are necessarily seen in a secondary role. Now, you may think and say, oh, but my HOD is a woman, and this one is a woman, and that woman is very successful and she doesn't seem to be having any problems. There will always be exceptions. There will always be women and other people who are able to negotiate the power dynamics, and for various reasons, they may have an upper hand and they may be not experiencing the consequences or not suffering the consequences. But if you are here, you are listening to this video, then trust me that you are part of a much bigger game that is being played, and it's across the globe. In every social structure, there is very much, the evidence of patriarchy. And in modern medicine, again, across the globe, you will find evidence of these patriarchal structures. So, now that we've made a diagnosis, let's try and find a solution. So, the good news is, although patriarchy has been around for hundreds of years, and it does affect us on a very daily basis, not just in our professional life, but also in our personal life, the fact that it emerged one day in society means that there is a day, hopefully sometime soon, when it will also disappear. So what are we going to replace patriarchy with? Patriarchy needs to be replaced with gender equality across the entire spectrum of genders. Now, I am speaking to women doctors, and it is not because I don't recognize people who have other gender identities, but that is how socially, and that is how most of us do see ourselves as women doctors. Hence, we are having this conversation. But anyone who experiences any kind of oppression or any kind of marginalization in the context of their practice as a doctor, whether it is somebody who's living with disabilities, whether it's a person living with any other marginalized identity, all these sessions are useful for you to understand also. So let's start at the beginning. If you want to fix your relationship on the outside, at the workplace, with other people, the key to that is to fix your relationship with yourself on the inside. Now you may be wondering, oh my God, now what is this extra work that I have to do? It is going to be the most important work of your lifetime. Trust me on that. Till a few years ago, I was like you, very rational, very scientific, quite cynical about, the things which we are seen as not quite modern medicine. But over the last 4 years, as a result of my own personal experiences, the mentors and guides I was fortunate to work with, I have recognized that there is so much more beyond what we understand through our biomedical education. Despite all the degrees we earn, all the experiences we have, all the immense intellectual and amazing skills that we all have, one of the biggest gaps in our education is about managing our own emotions. And that is what helps us manage relationships with ourselves and with others on the outside. So what is this relationship with yourself? Well, each one of us has some relationship with ourselves. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't recognize it. We take it for granted. We just move around in our lives because our conditioning is such that we are always expected to do things for others. As women, that is 100% our conditioning. And as doctors, that's another 100% our conditioning. So women doctors are moving around with a 200% conditioning and expectation from ourselves that we always have to be there for others. Now that's a good thing, because that is what makes us passionate, committed and sincere as doctors and as human beings in our other relationships, in our family, with our friends,